We've got to get through this town hall. If you didn't watch it, I recommend you watch the whole thing. It was absolutely delightful. It was delightful largely because Trump totally owned the libs with facts and logic, and it was just marvelous to watch. You kind of felt like you had that old energy back again, right? But the reason that I want to cover it, and I'll try to do it relatively quickly, I want to hit on 5 points because I think that the Trump town hall appearance, beyond delighting everybody with Trump's zingers, showed us 5 important things about his 2024 campaign. First one is Trump is going to bring receipts.
They were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers. Why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out. So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now I use Truth Social. I think it's far superior, okay? I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look January 6th, this is before 2:30. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down. I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there. I am asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on Truth, and I'm staying on Truth.
You didn't say anything for 700 hours after. Actually, I did. Boom. And he just pulls out that sheet of paper. This was, in a way, an answer to that infamous incident between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama and Candy Crowley, the moderator, I think also from CNN, back in 2012, when Mitt Romney said, you didn't call the Benghazi terror attack a terror attack until long after the attack. And Candy Crowley intervened on Barack Obama's behalf and said, actually, he did. Governor, he did. And then it turned out she was just making that up. That wasn't true. This was kind of the opposite, where you had the moderator or the hostess, Caitlin Collins. She says, you didn't talk about this for hours and hours. And Trump says, oh, I got my own receipts. Here we go. Good to know that. It's good to know that Trump is going to have the facts at his fingertips when you hear all of these kinds of charges that are inevitably going to come up throughout the 2024 campaign. Next thing it showed us is that Trump is thoughtful. Trump is thinking in a nuanced way about major political issues, notably foreign policy.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money, because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize.
This is a very thoughtful answer on Ukraine. The liberal view on Ukraine is rah-rah, World War III, let's start dropping bombs on Moscow. Let's go after the Kremlin, let's assassinate Putin. Forget about just chasing Russian influence out of Ukraine. We want Ukraine to go in and let's have them invade Russia. Let's go, baby, NATO on the move. That's the liberal view. The conservative view is a little more restrained than that. It's a little bit more conservative. The conservative view is the view that has been articulated by statesmen going back 30 years now, by George Kennan, author of The Long Telegram, by people like Henry Kissinger, by people like Daniel Patrick Moynihan and Sam Nunn, people who said, we've got to be a little bit careful about how NATO expands, and actually buffer states aren't the worst thing in the world because they mediate between great powers, And so what are we going to do here in Ukraine? Are we really going to rout Russia? We're going to call for regime change in Russia. What are we going to do? We're going to get Russia out of Crimea. What are we going to do? We're going to invite Ukraine to join NATO. Is that really going to de-escalate this situation, or no? Is that going to send us hurtling toward World War III while you've got China aggressing in Taiwan and the South China Sea? That doesn't seem to make sense. And so Trump knows this. Trump knows that if he says, I want Ukraine to win, first of all, you're going to just be affirming what Russia's already said, which is that the U.S. is a belligerent in the Ukraine war. And the U.S. is not just waging a kind of Cold War here, that the U.S. is waging a hot war with Russia. You're only going to escalate that, which is what all the liberals and the hawks are doing on this particular issue. And Trump says, no, I just want to wind down the conflict, which a lot of wise statesmen think the United States could do if it felt that it were in its interest to wind down the conflict. So really nuanced answer here from Trump. Not just a total dove, not just a total hawk. He's giving a thoughtful answer.
Right now, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Let me ask you something. When you use the restroom, you always close the door behind you, right? You don't want random passersby looking in on you. So why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going to the restroom and not closing the door, okay? I love ExpressVPN. I'm a total Luddite, so I barely know how to use any technology, but it's so easy to use, even I can use it. You just download it, one click of a button on your cell phone, on your laptop, on your iPad, on whatever you want. I can say with full confidence ExpressVPN is the best VPN on the market. Here's why. Number one, ExpressVPN doesn't log your online activity. They even developed a trusted server technology that makes it impossible for their servers to store any data at all. Number two, speed. ExpressVPN does not slow down your user experience. You can stream HD videos with zero buffering. Number three, ExpressVPN is incredibly easy to use. It's that one button, you're done, you're good to go. If you're like me, you believe your online activity is your business, use our link, expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show today. Get 3 months free on a 1-year package. expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show, expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show.
The next thing we learned about Trump is that the guy is still super funny.
I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old, and this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door, so she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? I don't know if she was married then or not. John Johnson, I feel sorry for you, John Johnson.
Mr. President, can I
think of it. They said he didn't rape her. And I didn't do anything else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr. President,
I don't know who this woman is.
Can I ask you, given your recounting
your version? I don't know who, and I tell you this.
But Mr. President,
are you ready?
And
I swear on my children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman is. This is a fake story, made up story.
So it's really funny. Because we could only put a short clip in there, you might lose a little bit of the context that when he's recounting that tale at the beginning, he's saying this is her version of events. I walk into Bergdorf Goodman, which I pretty much never did, and I'm in a crowded department store, and then the whole rest of it reads like a romance novel. And that last part, I think, is important, too, because Trump obviously has engaged in hyperbole, exaggeration, let's say a little bending of the truth every now and again. And he was a billionaire playboy for a long time. But at the end there, when he says, listen to me, I swear on my children, and I never do that. I have no idea who this woman is. This did not happen. One feels that is sincere. One has the impression that is sincere. And he's funny the whole time. It's the only way to deflate this. They're accusing him of the worst things you can be accused of. They're accusing him of rape, okay? And he's saying, either you say, no, I didn't do it, kind of like when someone who wants to set you up, they say, hey, do you still beat your wife? And any way you answer, you look bad. And so what does he do? He just makes fun of the whole situation, of this romance novel situation that appeared on an episode of Law & Order SVU 7 years before the woman published her claims. He mocks it. He hits you with sincerity. It's very persuasive on the campaign trail. And then the final point that we learned from the CNN town hall, and this is the most important thing, I think, for the Trump campaign to convey to the GOP base, is that Trump, this go-round at least, intends to be disciplined.
You still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. We got 12 million more votes than we had in, as you know, in 2016. I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the most that anybody's ever gotten as a sitting president of the United States. I think that when you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the people in this audience, and maybe a couple that don't, but most people understand what happened. That was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it.
Mr. President, back to what you just said there, though, it was not a rigged election. It was not a stolen election. You and your supporters lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
Let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes.
There's even more to it. We had to cut the clip to keep it a little tighter for the show. Trump, at that first debate with Joe Biden, would never have allowed that woman to get her nonsense interjection in there. Oh, Mr. President, actually, fact check, you lost. The election was not rigged. It was totally the most fair, wonderful beep boop election in beep beep boop. There were no questions about. And had this been the first debate of 2020, had this been a less disciplined campaign, Trump would have come in and gotten into a shouting match with her and gone back and forth. He exhibited incredible restraint there. In fact, he exhibited more restraint than I just exhibited, even listening to what she had to say. And there is no question in my mind that that was intentional, and it's to convey to the GOP base that this campaign is going to be disciplined. The most important line of the night, did not come during the town hall. The most important line of the night, and probably the line that bodes best for Trump's campaign, came before the town hall when Trump announced it.
I'll be doing CNN tonight, live from the great state of New Hampshire, because CNN is rightfully desperate to get those fantastic Trump ratings back. They were ratings like none other, and they want them back.
So I was sitting with sweet little Elisa last night, and we were listening to the town hall. And Elisa said to me, she goes, seriously though, why did CNN agree to do this town hall? And then just before I could answer, she answered it herself. She goes, is it literally just because they want those fantastic Trump ratings? And the answer is yes. And this is why Trump is going to get all that free media. He got billions of dollars worth of free media in 2016. This is why CNN is going to have him back on. This is why they're all going to have him back on. This is why his poll numbers are going up, because you can't look away. You might say, well, other political candidates, they've proven themselves to be more effective at wielding power or more nuanced about policy, or maybe that's true. I'm not even going to weigh in there. I'm just telling you, this guy is a singular political talent. He's an American original. His worst aspects are American original. His best aspects are American original, okay? There's no copy of him. Did you adore that clip? Me too. If you want to get more of them, if you want to get long interviews, if you want to get the yes or no game, if you want Michael and if you want The Daily Show, subscribe right here. Ring that bell. We'll see you next time.